Is Ross Chastain the new Dale Earnhardt? We're going to have that legit conversation now. I'm not going to overreact. I have seen this conversation been going on. Conversation. Can I speak today? I've seen it been going on the last few weeks on Twitter. I'm going to talk about it. So today we're going to talk about Ross Chastain. We're just going to talk about him and then figure it out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is a completely opinionated video. So I want to know your guys' comments, what you believe. Again, when we clarify, is Ross Chastain like Dale Earnhardt? We're not talking about race wins or championships. Not really. I think we all kind of know that that's not the case. I also don't want to talk about his impact on the sport. I also don't think that is similar to Dale Earnhardt. It was a long time ago. I wasn't even born, okay? I was born in 1997, so that was towards the end of Dale Earnhardt's career. Dale Earnhardt's career started very early on, okay? We're talking 70s, 80s, and stuff like that. I was not alive. The world was a different time. We don't really know the impact then, especially me that was born in 97. I cannot talk about the impact that Dale Earnhardt had. But growing up, I know the impact that Dale Earnhardt had. So right off the bat, we all know Ross Chastain's not like Dale Earnhardt that way. Okay, let's just get that off the bat. I think personally, in my opinion, it's a disgrace to mention Ross Chastain in the same sentence as Dale Earnhardt when comparing the two. Now, I've been told that apparently Dale Earnhardt Jr. has even said the same thing. Or not what I just said, but that Ross Chastain is similar to Dale Earnhardt, to his dad. Who am I to say, who someone is like compared to his dad? That's his dad. He knows. So, you know what? Maybe I'm in the wrong. But in my opinion, there's absolutely no way Ross Chastain should be mentioned in the same sentence as Dale Earnhardt. It's just not possible. It's not, no. Dale Earnhardt was a villain. He was a villain. He was liked. He was also hated. He was not universally popular. Bill Elliott was the most popular driver. Not Dale Earnhardt. Not Dale Earnhardt Sr. He wrecked people. He wrecked Terry Labonte. He wrecked Darrell Waltrip. He would stand up for himself. He would also have fun with younger drivers, specifically the guy that is currently on my head right now. He would have fun with him a lot, but it was out of respect. And that's the difference in what I actually want to talk about. When Dale Earnhardt came to you in the garage area, when Dale Earnhardt came to you on the track, when Dale Earnhardt gave you a little love tap and tried to move you out of the way, he was the intimidator. He had the aura. Okay? He was fast. He won races. He won championships. He was hard-nosed, tough, in every way you could be. You talk to him out of the car, or you race against him in the car. That's one tough son of a bitch. That was Dale Earnhardt Sr. It's not Ross Chastain. It's not Ross Chastain. Let's just put it that way. But let's give Ross Chastain his props. Ross Chastain was not given what he has earned. It was not given to him. He did not have money. He did not have a sugar daddy. He did not have parents that paid for everything and anything. He was on a tight budget. He was raised in Florida, racing late models. He worked his way all the way up. That's commendable. That's respectable. If there is one comparison you can make to Dale Earnhardt, it is that he was not given anything. He had to work for it. He had to work for it hard. He had to go from the bottom to the top. That you can compare to Dale Earnhardt. And if you want to talk about comparing, but it's even not just Dale Earnhardt. A lot of drivers from back in the day were self-made men. That's what made NASCAR really popular. It was the self-made sport. You had to work your way up. Nowadays, racing's not like that. It's not. Most drivers nowadays have a lot of money growing up within the family, and that's how they get the rides. They can pay for the rides. They can pay for sponsorship. Might not be the most talented, but they will be able to get opportunities that other people in local short tracks, late models, dirt racing, whatever it might be, that they don't get. Because they don't have the budget to race every week. They don't have the budget to get sponsors. They don't have the budget to pay to be in a car. They don't get that opportunity. So if you want to compare Chastain to Earnhardt that way, I'm actually okay with it. Chastain was a self-made driver. He gets to the truck series. He spends years in the truck series, part-time and full-time. He gets to the Nationwide Series. He spends years in the Nationwide Series, part-time and full-time. He gets to the Cup Series. He spends years, part-time and full-time, in back markers. He doesn't have a fast car. He can't showcase what he has in terms of talent. He has to just simply get in the car, try to bring it home clean, and do what's best for the team week in, week out, and hopefully he gets to stay around. He can't pay for his ride because he doesn't have that type of money. He has to earn his spot. I respect and commend Ross Chastain for all that, and he did that for basically 10 years, from 2011 to 2021/2022. Before he gets to Trackhouse Racing is when he really, that's his, in the Cup Series at least, that's his first real shot. He had other shots as well in the Xfinity and the Nationwide Series as well that he earned. He earned it. Fully respect Ross Chastain for that. Fully. Absolutely. I think he's definitely someone to look up to in that aspect, in terms of how hard he had to work to get where he is now. Now, the Cup Series is a different story. Like I said, Dale Earnhardt was the intimidator. He would wreck you sometimes. He'd move you, yes. There were drivers that Dale Earnhardt did not respect, and I think he probably made that very known. But there were drivers that he also did very much respect. I'll use Jeff Gordon as the example because I feel like the Jeff Gordon-Dale Earnhardt rivalry was something extremely unique. Because Earnhardt would push Gordon around, 100%. It was out of respect. Dale Earnhardt saw the talent that this young Jeff Gordon guy had. Now, when Dale Earnhardt was younger, though, he had to earn that respect too. And he was definitely not liked. Dale Earnhardt was definitely not liked. From everything I've read, especially like around the 80s, when Earnhardt was, winning his championships and he was a young guy in there and he was earning his stripes, he was not liked by much of the garage area. So, and the fans also, again, some people really liked him, some people didn't. So if you want to compare him to Ross Chastain that way, I guess. But Earnhardt won. He won. He won a lot of races and he won championships. Ross Chastain hasn't won a race in over a year. He has not. That's the point of the matter. He has had fast cars. He's had abilities and chances to win races. Now you can also argue that in modern day NASCAR, it's harder to win. I agree with that. It was easier to win in the 80s and the 90s because you had less top quality cars. You had not as many guys with the same speed, basically. Nowadays, a lot of the drivers and teams and cars are same speed. The margins are smaller, so it's just harder to win races. Stage racing, cautions, the randomness of it all was not like that in the 80s and the 90s. Definitely not. So it's harder to win races now. So you can argue that in Ross Chastain's favor. I go back to the word respect. That's where I personally actually get a little bit angry when I see the comparisons from Earnhardt to Ross Chastain. I don't really know how they got started. I'm guessing, from Twitter, younger fans. I would guess so. Yeah, they probably try to run with it. Listen, I was 4 years old. I tell this story all the time. My first NASCAR race was the 2001 Daytona 500. I only ever saw Dale Earnhardt race once in my life, like on TV, live. I only ever saw him race once. I remember the race, which is why I can say that I watched him race. But I didn't watch Dale Earnhardt live. 4 years old. 2001 Daytona 500. First ever race I saw him. And that's that. So I can't, I feel like even though I'm not old, I'm 26, but I'm not old enough to have watched him race, but I'm not young enough to not understand his impact on the sport. So I'm kind of in a weird spot, in a weird little time where my respect for Dale Earnhardt is still so incredibly high. And I think sometimes he's been gone too long. It has been 22 years. It's a long time. And the memory starts to fade, right? And what fades is the little things. It is the respect, how he treated his competitors, how he took accountability, how he was critical of himself as much as anybody else. He demanded more out of anybody else from himself. The respect that Dale Earnhardt had in that garage area was immense. Ross Chastain doesn't have that respect. Ross Chastain in the garage area is viewed as an aggressive hack. That is what he's viewed as. Really. In the garage area. That's what he's viewed as. He doesn't have that level of respect from his teammate, from his Chevy teammates, and from his competitors and other manufacturers, from other pit crew members, team members in the garage. He doesn't have that respect. Now, the people that are with him, yeah, they have that respect for him. His fans, yeah, they have that respect for him. And I think we can all agree that he is a fast race car driver, and he puts his effort out there. Again, self-made, respect him for that, everything like that. But on that racetrack, you don't treat Ross Chastain with respect. Why? Because he doesn't treat you with respect. And in the post-race interviews, I have to be better. We just saw it at North Wilkesboro when they were racing in the late models. Oh, I have to be better. You know, it's my responsibility. I have to stop running into people. Because guess what? This week, Rick Hendrick got on the phone. Rick Hendrick got on the phone. And when Rick Hendrick gets on the phone, you listen. Chevy listens. Everybody listens. And it's very clear Ross Chastain had to listen. Because for the first time, team owner Justin Marks came out in public and kind of said, yeah, we need to have a sit-down conversation with him. Why? Because whether you like it or not, for those of you that don't like Mr. Hendrick, that man is as legendary as it gets within NASCAR. That man is the most respected man in the entire garage area. So, yeah, you might want to listen to him. And guess what? Rick Hendrick is one of the main reasons why Chevy is as big as they are in motorsport now. So, I think Chevy's going to listen. And so Justin Marks is going to have to listen, and Ross Chastain is going to have to listen. And it's not because Ross Chastain was wrecking Hendrick drivers or whatever. It is because Rick Hendrick calls it like he sees it. I respect that man with everything I have, because as much as he will want his, he will protect his drivers and root for his team just like everybody else. You want to, be biased towards your team. That man understands racing. And I said it before I even saw his comments in the post-race interview, in the post-race conference. I said it. And he said the same exact thing that I said. I'm not saying me and Rick Hendrick think alike. I'm just saying it's common sense. That's what I was saying. You don't got to be smart to think it. It's common sense. You ain't winning a championship with the way Ross Chastain races. It's not happening. So he has to look at himself in the mirror and think about that. That conversation never happened with Dale Earnhardt. It was different racing back in the day as well. It was tougher, more aggressive, stuff like that. But the respect is the biggest thing that Chastain does not have. No one is, I want to make this very clear. No one wants Chastain to turn into a generic race car driver that doesn't showcase personality, that doesn't showcase ability. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We want him to be aggressive. We want him to create that drama, those storylines, to be the tough guy out there, to not take any BS from anyone. But you can't just be ignorant to what you are doing. That's where we have the problem. Specifically me, I can only talk for myself. I don't know about you guys. That's where I have the problem with Ross Chastain. Is you got to take accountability and responsibility for your actions. And you can't, in interviews, apologize half-heartedly and continue to do the same thing. Say multiple occasions, I have to stop doing this, I have to stop doing that, but continue doing it. At that point, you become a hypocrite. It's not about being an aggressive race car driver that makes it fun. You become a hypocrite. You're not going to become a superstar that way. You're not going to draw more eyeballs that way. The whole punching Noah Gragson thing and defending yourself, I'm actually good with that. I said at the time, I was good with that. Noah Gragson put his hands on Chastain. Chastain said, stop. And once he realized Gragson wouldn't stop, he landed a nice, clean right-hand punch. I'm good with that. I'm perfectly good with that. I like that. Seriously. Defend yourself. If you're going to race like that on the track, you got to defend yourself. And if you're going to defend yourself, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. But if you're going to do this post-race fake accountability, this fake responsibility, and then just and also in line, just never change it, never change your actions, never change what you do, never follow through with what you're saying that you will do, you become a hypocrite. That's what I view Ross Chastain as now. I see him as a hypocrite because he's doing one thing on the track and saying another thing off the track. Makes no sense. At that point, I just lose respect for you. I go back to that word, respect. You can be the villain. You can be the villain. In his later years, Kyle Busch was, not like recently, because I feel like he has a lot more fans now. Like people have finally seen it. But in his prime, Kyle Busch, when he was the villain, when he was very smart in conning people, I kind of always saw it. I never hated Kyle Busch. I saw the game he was playing. He wanted to be the villain. He wanted to piss you guys off, and it worked. I don't think he ever got the superstar levels because I think NASCAR as a whole was not, it was declining. So it was hard for Kyle Busch to bring it back up himself, but he got people to hate him. That was very, very clear. And I saw the act. I thought it was really funny. This Chastain thing isn't an act. This is just how he is. In a few ways, can my camera stop glitching? Camera, please. I think in a few ways you can see some resemblance, but I don't think it deserves to be saying, oh, Chastain's like Earnhardt. No. It's a different time. No one can be like Earnhardt. That's the fact of the matter, actually. Nobody can be like Dale Earnhardt. There's never going to be another Dale Earnhardt. Life now is different than life was 40 years ago, 50 years ago. There's never going to be another Dale Earnhardt. It's never happening. I don't think you can compare anyone to him. All the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time can be compared maybe to somebody else. You can throw comparisons of Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson because it was the same era. Or if you want to throw Tony Stewart comparisons in there, Mark Martin, Richard Petty and David Pearson, Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison, Darrell Waltrip. You can't compare Earnhardt to anybody else. There's nobody like him. So when I saw the comparisons trying to be made, it angered me. Because it's too simplistic, it's lazy, and it's flat out wrong. The way I see Dale Earnhardt, I think a lot of younger fans need to understand it. The way that Dale Earnhardt forever should be seen. It should never be forgotten. It should never lack in its conviction of how much we should respect who Dale Earnhardt was. You can't. I've always been a Jeff Gordon fan. I will always say Jeff Gordon's the greatest of all time because I was his fan. I never compare Jeff Gordon to Dale Earnhardt. Never. I never will. I never have, and I never will. Because Dale Earnhardt, that's his own thing. The legend of Dale Earnhardt has to be in its own stratosphere of who he was. Like, you just can't compare Earnhardt to anybody. Especially to Ross Chastain, who had 0 championships, barely any wins, 0 championships. No, it's not happening. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't like it. I've tried in this video to examine where that comparison can happen. And I've said where it could, maybe the self-made stuff, going up into the sport, not taking crap from anyone. But Earnhardt's his own thing, man. I don't compare the greatest of all time in NASCAR to Dale Earnhardt. I just don't. And it's out of respect. It's out of respect for the man. I wish I could see him in the prime. It's hard to go back and understand, at the time how he was, because I was not alive. You have to go up based off of other people's opinions. But I'm old enough to understand and the importance of his legacy. And I don't take that for granted, man. So I hopefully in this video you guys can understand how passionate I am about that. I don't like the comparisons. I really don't. So if you are making that comparison, that's your opinion. But man, I don't like it. I don't respect it. No, I don't. That's Dale freaking Earnhardt we're talking about. No. I wish Chastain the best. I hope he can win championships. But in order to do that, like Rick said, and like I said in my post-race review, I'm nowhere freaking near as important. I'm not important at all. I'm just a race fan. but it's common sense. You ain't winning championships the way he's racing right now, and the way he's acting off the track in reaction to his racing on the track. You're not winning championships. It's not happening. It's just not. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Debate. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know. Let me know. Comment down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. I really like this hat, by the way. That's why I wore it. I just bought it. And, yeah, Jeff Gordon's the greatest of all time. I do say that jokingly, but also not jokingly. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.